looking into Chicago's history to prepare for its future. As the city gets ready to host the Democratic National Convention this summer, what lessons can be learned from the violent, chaotic DNC back in 1968 here in Chicago?
A professor at Northwestern University has examined those lessons, including the role of news media. And Heather Hendershot is the author of When the News Broke, Chicago 1968 and the Polarizing of America. And Professor Hendershot joins us tonight. We're really glad you're here.
Great, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
We could talk to you about this for hours, really. What a fascinating topic. But first, go back to 1968. Obviously, you see the video, troubling, chaotic time for America. Yeah. But can you summarize what happened?
It's hard to overemphasize how crazy things were in America in 1968, right? In January, February, you have the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, which basically shows Americans we're not winning there, as the Johnson administration had been implying. And public opinion is turning against Vietnam. It's not just outsider protesters or college kids. It's the opinion is turning. Martin Luther King is assassinated in April. There are uprisings in 125 cities. Fire, looting, police brutality. And then in June, Robert F. Kennedy is assassinated. Right. So you're heading into the convention in August, and a lot of people who thought Bobby Kennedy might have been the candidate are hugely disappointed. Johnson is doing so poorly that he's dropped out of the race. Right. And everyone is sort of braced for the worst on the streets and also inside the convention hall itself.
And first of all, they didn't really want it to be in Chicago. Houston was the preferred city where they wanted it to be in 1968, but Mayor Jay Daley lobbied very hard to get it here in Chicago. And he had a very contentious relationship with the media. He had some very fiery words after an article went out that he did not want protesters anywhere near the amphitheater where all of the convention activities were taking place.
Yeah, he was denying permits to protesters to march. He kept them very far away from the amphitheater. And he, as you say, he had a long kind of contentious relationship with the media. He was very tight with the unions, and it's very, shall we say, fishy that he was not able to resolve an electrical workers strike. That meant that the networks couldn't do live coverage of the convention in the streets. They could only do it in the amphitheater itself. And so he kind of set up what you might call an infrastructure of censorship to prevent free and open kind of expression of the media and also, you know, protesters in the street.
It is so hard to make a comparison to this for numerous reasons. Obviously, the technology has changed on how we cover news. Yeah. The city has changed, but here we are with the DNC coming to Chicago, and then the RNC just up the road in Milwaukee. What do you think is going to happen in Chicago with the DNC? And I'm not talking about what's happening in the United Center. Yeah. With us covering it and what the world's going to see.
Wow, it's hard to predict everything. We do know that the DNC itself, there's a lot of people within that organization that would like to have it very tightly controlled in terms of what we see on TV and repeat some of the strategies that worked for them during COVID, where they cut away to all 50 states and the delegates gave their votes. And they had just a lot of video at the ready so that less of the material was live, and that's definitely a control strategy that may be in place with TV coverage this year because of concern about protesters. It's helpful to remember, looking back, that we think of 68 as being protests in the street, but it was inside the amphitheater itself, and that's one of the strong kind of parallels that people are concerned about coming this August. You had people in the amphitheater in Chicago who were protesting about delegate disenfranchisement of people of color who weren't properly selected to come to Chicago. And you've got a really strong pro-peace movement among delegates holding up peace signs during the convention. And you've got these hot mics on the floor where people get access to a mic and say, everyone in here needs to know, because they don't have phones in their pockets, they're not getting updates, that there's violence in the street right now and the police are beating protesters. And it was pretty wild, and you can see why this summer they're thinking, let's reduce the amount of hot mics just in case, right, to help maintain that kind of control inside.
Viral moments inside now happen in real time. Like we'll see
real
that
time, because people
on
have cell phones,
right,
of course,
Exactly.
they didn't have back then. There was racial tension, strong racial tension, just like it is in this country. Talked about police brutality back in 1968. So many similarities, but there was some good that came out. Minorities and young people really started to get in the voting process, and also how delegates were selected. That all changed after the 1968 convention.
It did. There was this thing called the McGovern-Fraser Commission that changed the selection policy for delegates for the Democrats, and the Republicans later, followed suit. And by 1972, you have more women, people of color, young people coming to the convention and participating on the floor. And of course, Nixon has lowered the voting age to 18, and that makes a big difference in the youth vote, both for him and for the Democratic candidate in 72. So a lot of big changes inspired by what happened in 68 here.
Revisiting protests for just a minute here, we have these encampments that seem to be wrapping up, and protesters have made their voices known. They're going to be here, and the perimeter, wherever it will be. What do you anticipate seeing as the Israel-Hamas war continues? There's talk of a ceasefire, but they're nowhere close. Do you think we'll see mass groups arrive in Chicago to protest?
I couldn't predict the numbers, but it's helpful to keep in mind that in 68, organizers thought maybe 100,000 or 200,000 people would be here. 10,000 people came. So it was, radically short of what they expected, because Mayor Daley really conveyed that there would be a lot of violence, really, a lot of hostility from police and so on. This time around, we could have many, many more. If you think back to 2004 in New York City, there were 200,000 people protesting the Republican convention in New York. And the city was not very open to a lot of protest and free speech. So it made some mistakes, but they definitely managed that event of 200,000 people coming into the city. So if Chicago could do as well now as they did there, even though Giuliani certainly made some mistakes, things could go better than some people fear, for sure.
We kind of had a test run during the NATO summit, of course, when everybody came here. We kind of ran some of the rules and regulations. Chuck Gowdy tonight with a sit-down one-on-one with a top cop here in Chicago. He says 2 words: we're ready. So like you said, you can't predict anything, but you can learn from past events.
Absolutely.
And how to change things around. So it's going to be really interesting. Chicago is going to be on the national stage, the global stage. Once again, Mayor Daley back then, of course, thought this was his legacy, and he wanted it to go right.
It kind of was his legacy. It's just not the kind of legacy that he suspected, right?
So it's so interesting. I remember I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago, not very far from where the amphitheater was. And I remember my siblings and my parents talking about this, and the television was on, and you could see some of the things that were happening.
Right down the street from
It was wild, right?
It was. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thanks so much.
Will you come back?
I would love to come back.
Because we like on this program, we can have a little more in-depth conversations like we just did with you. So thank you. Professor Hendershot is the author of When the News Broke, Chicago 1968 and the Polarizing of America. We'll have you back maybe as the convention starts or after a day or so of it. We'd love to.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
right?
Fantastic.
Just get analysis afterwards as well.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.